and welcome to the Par 3 here on the lines.com. This is the Players Championship Edition. Matt Brown, Stephen Andress coming to you. Going to give you 3 bets from each of us that we like this week. If you want the full card, even better reason to go over to the lines.com. Go to the upper right-hand corner and join our Discord. It is absolutely free, just like every single thing we do. And you can see everybody's full card over there. Not just me, Stephen, but all of our golf analysts over there. If you haven't done so already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Again, everything we do, absolutely free. Stephen, real quick, if people want the full breakdown, of course, go get John's stuff over at thelines.com. That said, real quick, just to give people a background of how I came about to my picks here, just, the volatility of this event, 17 holes with water, 1 million bunkers out there. We've seen guys win the tournament and miss the cut next year, the next season. Rory actually missed the cut, won the tournament, then missed the cut in 3 consecutive years here. So, for me, I'm looking for guys that maybe can keep this thing out of the water. And if you can keep it out of the water, first and foremost, to me, that was like the biggest thing, because you hit it in the water a couple times, it's game over, right? And so can you keep it dry? And we'll go from there. A lot of people talk about, we hear this all the time when we handicap golf. Oh, it's a second shot golf course. Not this one. This is a first shot golf course. Do not hit the ball in the water. Do not hit the ball in the 3.5-inch rough, and you can at least be game in this thing come Saturday and Sunday. So just get a little bit of background to how I got to the guys that I'm looking for.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? Just keep your ball dry and you have a shot to stay in contention here if you're one of the better golfers. If we look at recent winners, this has been an event that has produced long shot winners, but you have to go all the way back to 2018 to find the last one with Webb Simpson at 100-1. More recently, Scottie Scheffler 12-1, Cam Smith 30-1, Justin Thomas 20-1. Didn't have one in 2020 because of COVID. Rory McIlroy 14-1. So,
and worth pointing out, it's not worth going back past Rory McIlroy in 2019, because that's when they moved this event to March instead of May. And this course has played completely different in that 2-month shift. And I know people who don't, follow golf or more specifically golf course management, it would be like, what does it matter? It's May, it's March. The thing is Bermuda is dormant in the colder weather, in the colder climate. And so the Bermuda grass is actually not actually out right now over at TPC Sawgrass. And so all of the stuff that the stats that we had from 2018 and prior, Stephen, don't really apply now, specifically on the stuff around the greens and everything like that, because it's just a completely different setup.
Now, the question I have for you, Matt, is yes, that is true. You probably want to have at least a couple of guys that are shorter than 51 at the top of your card. But with this year's event, Scottie Scheffler is such a big favorite that he's creating bigger numbers on other guys down the board. Combine that with so many good golfers that have left the PGA Tour, opening the door for more long shots like we've seen this year. That has made me, even though we've seen the recent run of short odds winners here, at least a little bit more receptive to go deeper on the card.
No, absolutely. And listen, over at DraftKings, and they actually have a winner without market, and it's just Scottie Scheffler. It's like usually it's like 2 or 3 guys, sometimes even 4 guys. It's literally just Scottie Scheffler. It's winner without Scottie Scheffler. And if you wanted to play that market, I'm being dead serious, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually wouldn't fault you for doing it.
I'm scared to death of Scotty at this point.
The numbers aren't that much worse. Literally, the numbers aren't that much worse. You're talking like let's just take a Justin Thomas, for example. It's 22 in the full, and without Scottie Scheffler, it's 20. It's like not that much worse. For when you look at Scottie Scheffler's win equity, if he can keep up the putting, Steven, it's like that means the odds are correct, because that is how much better he is than everybody else, and how much more consistent he is than everybody else at every single other facet of the game outside of putting. It is scary if he putts like he putted last week, where he wins by 5 shots. We could be talking about another multiple shot win here for Scottie Scheffler. So if somebody wanted to play the winner without market, I actually am okay with it right now until we find out if this putter thing is going to stick with Scottie, because if it sticks, it's going to make golf betting pretty boring.
And the reason I'm scared is because he did change putters and did make a significant change. This wasn't like same routine, he happened to have a good putting week. This is a wholesale change to a new putter that he's more comfortable with. So that's what makes me a little concerned to try and beat him. But Matt, we're going to try and do it anyway.
Let's do it, buddy. You're on the box.
All right, so I am going to go deeper on the card here. If you want the shorter shots, you can find it at thelines.com. Discord channel, top right-hand corner. Hit the Discord button to join for free. And this guy is now 65-1, Brian Harman. However, he was 150-1 earlier in the week, and you would have gotten it if you were in the lines.com Discord. So be sure to check that out. A couple of things that pop for me here. When I filter for Pete Dye courses, Brian Harman shot right to the top 3. So love that. Also, he's a great putter. So this event has played a little easier than some of the other majors, the signature events, even though it is, the quote unquote 5th major, the signature event on the PGA Tour schedule. But something happened with Harman last week at the API that intrigued me. He figured something out with his irons. He had lost a lot of strokes on approach in consecutive events, but all of a sudden the API popped for 5.6 on approach, among the best in the field. Finished 12th at the API, even though he's not long off the tee, and that course is really built for bombers. So, and on top of that, we know he is a great putter, and yet he still finished 12th at the API despite losing 2 strokes putting. Very unlike him. One of the best putters typically on tour. So if he comes back to what we normally see from him as a great putter with this iron play, with his course history of liking Pete Dye courses, I think this is still a decent number at 65-1 to bet Brian Harman. I don't look at him in the same lens as I did before, now that he's won the Open Championship, now that he's contended consistently over the past calendar year. So I'm kind of, I got him at 150-1, but I'm telling you, I still would be fine with a sprinkle on him at 65-1.
Yeah, you look here, and over the last 36 rounds, he's inside the top 30 in this field in a ton of categories. And so you start to look at some of the stuff, like we said, they're small greens. And so around the green play is probably going to come into account. He's inside the top 30 there. If you go in, strokes gained on short courses, he is inside the top 30 there. He's inside the top 30 on good drive percentage, because as we said, we got to keep these drives. We got to keep them out of the long grass, and we got to keep them dry. And so he is 15th in this field, I should say, in good drive percentage over the last 36 rounds. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here that you really do like about Brian Harman. So I don't mind that pick one bit at all. My first one is going to be Justin Thomas. And listen, it's one of those deals where Scotty Scheffler, as crazy as it sounds, in a field of 100-plus golfers and the best golfers in the world, is Scotty Scheffler likely to win this event? Like we just said, if he putts, probably, because he just does everything so incredibly good. But if for whatever reason the putter fails him again this week, I do look at a guy who not only has had success here, even though course history isn't all that sticky, but who can fight conditions. That's the other thing. We might get weather at this. We've seen weather at this event before. If there's a guy that, is really, really tricky with the way that he's able to do things off the tee, around the green, he's a wizard. Iron play and wedge play, Justin Thomas is at the top of all of those lists, right? And if we got to get guys because the wind gets crazy and they're just going to have to smoke 2-iron missiles off the tee, well, Justin Thomas practices that a lot, and like this is a dude that has versatility in all of this. So for me, Steven, Justin Thomas is the guy that, if Scotty isn't the winner, I'm thinking there could be a small group of these guys at the top, and Justin Thomas is the one that jumped to the start for me.
Yeah, that's who I started my card with. So we are in sync on that one. I also like Justin Thomas. He also has some course history fits here as well. We know he's won the Players, so all of that works for me. My second guy is Tom Hoge, and I have good memories of Mr. Hoge from when he won the Pebble Beach a couple of years ago and thought he was dead for most of the tournament, and then Spieth melted and he walks away with the trophy at a big, big number. And now I look at trying to beat Scotty Scheffler at this course with all of the water, and I need somebody who's going to find the fairway and be electric with his irons, like among the elites in terms of being with his ball striking. And Tom Hoge has played in tournaments with Scotty Scheffler twice over the past month. At the Arnold Palmer, listen, I know Scotty won. He won by 5, but at least in terms of approach, Scotty gained 3.3 on approach. At the API, Tom Hoge gained 8.2 on approach. At the Genesis, Hoge gained 6.8 on approach. Scotty Scheffler at the Genesis actually lost on approach and finished 10th. So I think Hoge would have been in contention last week if he didn't have a very unusual brutal putting week at the API. He lost almost 5 strokes putting, and that broke a streak of 5 consecutive events where he gained putting. So that's not typically a concern with Hoagie. We're at a course where distance off the tee is mitigated for Scotty, so Hoagie doesn't have to worry about that as much. And we're getting huge numbers on him. So I think last time I checked Tom Hoagie, 70-1 still available on Tom Hoagie. And we know he has the ability to win on the PGA Tour. He's already done it. I mean, you can't find a better guy on approach in this field over the past 24 rounds than Tom Hoagie.
Yeah, I have a placement market bet on Hoagie. This is a week I'm pretty heavy in the placement market stuff, and I'm pretty heavy in the placement market stuff for dudes that are a little bit outside of the bubble of, you know, the household names. And it's because not only of the volatility, but too just the specific skill sets that come into play on this course. If you kind of look at Tom Hoagie, one, we're getting him riding the heater, right? And like we talked about this last week of the Emiliano Grillo, which, by the way, cruised home on that bet last week from a placement market standpoint. Don't hate him again this week from a placement market standpoint either. But if you look, these guys that are pretty volatile, if you can catch them on a heater, like golf, Steven, you play golf, and anyone that's ever played golf knows, like, if you're in a groove with your swing, everything's just coming a lot easier. And when you're struggling out there and fighting your swing a lot, it doesn't matter how good you are, it makes things really, really, really tough. And so guys like Hoagie that we've seen come up and down and up and down and up and down, right now, he's grooving it. Look at this. Last 4 tournaments he's played, T17, 8 outright, T28, T12. If you look at his course history here, which I said, I'm not big on course history here. I'm not, because it is not very sticky. That being said, he has shown success at this tournament. He has a T30, T22, T33, and a T3 in his last 4 trips to this tournament. And so I really do like Hoagie a lot. And I actually played him in a top 10. I didn't play him in an outright, but listen, it's a fat number at a top 10 for a guy that I think has some pretty good upside this week.
Course record here, Matt. Course record for Tom Hoagie.
I'm being a little more aggressive this week in the placement market bets too, because like I said, I think some of these guys can really pop. My second outright this week, so I had a short shot in Justin Thomas. I'm going to go long shot on this one, and it's Killa Keith Mitchell coming in. You can find him as big as 90-1 out there. He's come off the triple digits. I think some of the people that dug into this found some of the same stuff that I did when I was looking through here. Listen, if this dude can figure something out around the green, Keith Mitchell can really contend here. The problem is he is just very bad around the green and scrambling. And like, that is just a major, major flaw in Keith Mitchell's game. And here's the deal though, Steven, there's one way to avoid that, and it's just keep it on the greens, right? And like, so if you look, Keith Mitchell, this is a guy that when we start to say on approach, last 24 rounds versus baseline, he is 3rd overall in this field. He is really stroking the ball. We know what he does off the tee. He's fantastic off of the tee. He's 7th in strokes gained off the tee in this field over the last 24 as well. And for me, when you take a look at a guy like Keith Mitchell, what is the upside? The upside is he's driving it well. His approach game is going to be well. And if he's sticking the greens, which they're saying, Steven, now this is, I'm not on the ground, you're not on the ground, all that. They're saying it's a little bit more receptive right now. Now, it could change if the winds start up and all the stuff like that over the course of the week, and there's still a lot of time between now and when they tee off on Thursday. But they're saying these greens are a little more receptive right now. They're saying that their balls aren't funneling off quite as badly as they have. So if that's the case, take that elite approach game. Don't have to worry with the chipping and stuff and the par saves and all the scrambling things that we are really fearful of with a guy like Keith Mitchell. And I think he has a chance at some decent upside here. Like him better kind of as a top 20, top 10 bet, maybe even a top 5 bet in this tournament. But I have to play an outright on him considering how high he popped in the model for me. Steven, 8th overall in the model for me this week is Keith Mitchell.
He's just one of the straightest hitters on tour, right? And that's a good fit here. He's a guy who won in the past at PGA National in the tournament formerly known as the Honda Classic. So if he can win there, it makes sense that he would contend at Sawgrass for sure.
It's just 103rd in the field and around the green and 88th in scrambling. It's just that's the problem, right? If he's missing, if he's not holding these greens, he's missing greens. He probably has no shot.
Yeah, there he is. Hit the nail on the head. All right, last one for me. One more long shot here. A guy who started to peak this season and arguably playing the best golf of his career. It's South African with the glorious mustache, Erik van Rooyen. Over the last 36 rounds, he ranks top 15 for me in the model, even though you can still find 120 to 1 on Mr. Van Rooyen. Also, if you look at his past results here, I believe he's won a tournament here recently. Yeah, he won the Worldwide Technology back in November. Obviously, a much stronger field here. But we at least see that he can convert when in contention. Another guy who has been really consistent with his irons over the past month, really since the start of the season. And the biggest change this year from last year is we're getting far more consistent putting weeks. We're getting some ceiling putting weeks. He finished second at the Cognizant, formerly known as the Honda, at PGA National, where he putted extremely well there. I think, there's some similarities. If you can stay out of the water there, make some putts, should be the same type of deal here at Sawgrass with all the water here in Florida. So I think at this number on a guy who is taking his game to another level this season, at 120 to 1, why not?
Steven, I have a placement bet on EVR as well. We don't talk about these picks before we come in, but we landed on the same stuff. I don't have an outright on him, but I do have a placement bet. Listen, we talk about riding heaters on guys, and you start to say, okay, odds don't really match up to what we're seeing. So, let's shrink this down for these dudes that, again, aren't necessarily super consistent. Let's talk about these guys that might just go on runs because they're just talented guys. They're talented golfers, and they figured it out in the short term. Let's shrink this down to the last 16 rounds, Steven. So, in theory, the last 4 tournaments, because we're going to assume these guys, if they're playing good, they're making cuts, they're playing 4 rounds. It's the last 4 tournaments. Last month, if you will, month and a half, depending on what the schedule is for these dudes. Erik van Rooyen, in this field over the last 16 rounds, he's 11th in strokes gained total, 22nd in tee to green, 40th around off the tee, 39th in approach, 32nd in ball striking, 47th in around the green, 19th in putting, and 19th in short game. He is inside the top 47 in this field in every single major statistical category there is over the last 16 rounds played. And again, that's 4 tournaments. That means this dude is coming in hot. He is playing very, very well, stroking the ball very well. If you're inside the top 47 in a field of over 100 golfers, of the best golfers in the world, over the last month, over the last 4 tournaments, whatever you want to call it, things are rocking and rolling with you. I really like the EVR look.
Matt, you know what else I like too? This event, as we mentioned previously, you have to score a little bit. It's not going to be as difficult as a major or the API at Bay Hill. So you got to make some birdies. So the fact that Van Rooyen over the last 36 rounds, over the last 24 rounds, is top 5 in this field in strokes gained on par 5s, that excites me because he's going to take advantage of those in most cases.
My last one is a placement market bet. And it is your boy, and I'm stealing the thunder here, but you want to talk about riding the heater. We talked about this with Emiliano Grillo. We're going to do the same thing here with Doug Gim, who is grooved right now. Doug Gim is absolutely grooved. If you want to play it conservative, top 40 is still even money. You're not laying any juice or anything like that. It's still even money. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive, a top 20, you can find as high as plus 375 on Doug Gim. All those numbers I just read you about EVR, how impressive those were over the last 16 rounds. How about this for Doug Gim? Second in this field in strokes gained total. 6th tee to green, 26th off the tee, 6th approach, 6th ball striking, 65th around the green. We could do better there. However, 24th putting and 25th in short game. This guy is inside the top 26 in this field in every single category but one. And the deal is like we said, the around the green only comes into play for missing the greens. And hopefully that 6th in approach over the last 16 rounds as well wins out, and we're not having to do too much scrambling. We're not having to do too much chipping to save par or anything like that, Steven. But again, Doug Gim lighting it up right now over on the golf course. And his win equity, it's not all that high. It's probably not where you want to be with all this, but a nearly 4-1 on a top 20 and even money on a top 40. Think about this, guys. You're not even laying the 110. Even money on the top 40 here for Doug Gim. Love that bet. Doug Gim coming in just absolutely on fire.
You're not alone. I know didn't mention the outright market, but he was 170 to 1 at the beginning of the week. I bet him at 170 to 1, so he's on my card. He's down to 110 to 1 now. It's just hard to ignore the model with him this week. The last 50 rounds for me, top 5. Last 36 rounds, top 5 in the rankings. Last 24 rounds, top 5 in the rankings. So he's just not a consistent putter, but the ball striking is phenomenal right now. And let's not forget, a couple of years ago, he was one shot off the lead going into the final round at the Players. Now he shot even par. Cam Smith pulled away, won that Players in what was a weird event earlier in the week with a lot of weather and wave advantage. But still, in contention going into the final round. If there's a course where he fits, it's here. And
like we said, we don't want guys spraying it. We don't want guys spraying it. He's 18th in good drive percentage. Yeah, he's not long, but like we don't need to be long at the like length is always just length is a bonus anywhere. I get that, but in this one, it doesn't matter if you hit it 330 yards if it ends up in the water, or if you hit it 330 yards and it ends up in the 3.5-inch rough, because it's basically obviously the water is a full stroke penalty, and they've done the research here since they've grown this thing up to 3.5. It is basically a third of a stroke penalty if you get it into that 3.5-inch rough. So you're basically giving yourself a third of a penalty stroke if you hit it over there in that rough. Well, Doug Gim again coming in and hitting it either on the fairway or barely rolling off of the fairway. So again, there's just a lot to love about him above the stats that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Listen, he's never finished higher than 5th in a PGA Tour event. So if you don't want to take the outright like I am, listen to what Matt's saying. But like we talked 2 weeks ago about how he's having the best stretch of golf of his career. He's done nothing but to continue that since we last spoke about him. So love the ball striking from Gimbo Slice, as we like to call him.
Guys, this is just 6 of our picks this week. Again, full card posted over on the Lines Discord. That is absolutely free to get into, so go to lines.com, upper right-hand corner. You click on that, join up, and then not only me, Steven, but everybody that is betting golf over there talking about this. This is a awesome tournament to bet. This is, obviously a tournament that the players hold in very high regard. One of the most famous courses, if not the most famous course that you'll see outside of Augusta. Certainly the most famous hole in all of golf. Going to be on display this weekend as well. And so can't wait to get this done. If you like what you got here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and then let us know in the comments section, who do we gloss over? Is there anybody that you're on, or do you not like those picks that we're on this week? Hey, we're cool with whatever the comment is. As long as it's constructive criticism, we're here to have a discussion with you guys on this for sure. Good luck.
YouTube comments, home of the constructive criticism.
Yes, obviously. That's what we're going to but our community is going to do that, Steven. Our community is going to do that. We appreciate you guys.
We love you
guys.
Hey,
good luck on all your bets for the Players Championship.